Hello to everyone. This video I'm going to talk about the research writing report. First of all, let me tell about what is research. Research is an investigation or an examinations of anything. To do the research, we need experience, exposures, and the knowledge. So, to write the report, there are various formats are there which is given by various authors and the institutions. If we maintain the standard format, we can trace out the errors and mistakes. That is why the methodology is very important when we are writing the research report. In this video, I have general format. Let me tell about that format. First of all, the title. The title should be very specific and should be start with the article. This is a protocol of designing the title. Then introductions. When we talk about introductions, we have to start with some famous quotes by the world famous authors or some important points of the research topic should be mentioned at the beginning, and that should be cited and also should be mentioned in the footnote. The first chapter, it should also mention about the some important background of the study, then significant of the study, then if it's a proposal, few review of literature should be mentioned there, then the statement of the problem. The statement of problem must be narrowed down. The variable must be mentioned there. What are the dependent variables? What are the independent variables? And these variables should be prescribedly explained it. Then the research question should be asked based on the variables. Then the objectives of the study. The objectives of the study should mention about the purpose of the research work. There should be a general objectives and the specific objectives. General objectives can be one or two objectives. So based on that general objectives, there should be a specific objectives. Next one is the scope of the study. That is a boundary. What is the boundary of your research work? That should mention there. Then the methodology. Methodology that you can write it in any ways, but there are the important content should be there in the methodology. They are the research design, primary data collection techniques, secondary data collection techniques, sampling techniques. The sampling technique should be tabular form. Should be in tabular. It should be in a table form. Then the statistical used for the analysis and its purpose also should be mentioned there. Then the data analysis. Then after the methodology, then you have to go for the conceptual framework. That conceptual framework, you can take an idea from the Nobel laureates or from the great authors, great institutions, or even you can design on your own way. Also, you can design it. Those can be explained in the form of the diagram, chart, pictures, even in the form of text. Also, it can be explained it. Then the research outcomes, that is a hypothesis. So important hypothesis you have to mention there. Then the definition and terms used. That means what the variables, what are the parameters, factors, those and all should be mentioned there, and that should be explained it clearly. Then the profile of the study, then the valuation of the thesis. Valuation of the thesis must be explained in the form of the statistical ways you have to justify it. Then the limitation of the study, then the time schedule or the Gantt chart, the budget, then the chapter scheme, then the conclusions or the summary. So these are all the content should be mentioned in the chapter 1, that is the introduction chapter. The second chapter should be mentioned about the review of literatures. The review of literature should be from the various articles, okay, or the research papers, okay, or dissertation reports. Anywhere you can take it, but that should be written in the form of the world level, continent level, national level, and the regional level. Either you can write it in the period wise, or some year wise, or some what you can say that some justifiable way you should be written it. Then the review of literature, it should be segregated on the basis of the topic or the statement of the problem or variables or objectives. And these review of literatures can be collected from the various studies from the world. Okay, anywhere you can collect it to bring your ideas. And this review of literatures chapter can also be the introductions part, body part, summary, or the conclusions part. In the third chapter, it's mentioned about the scenario of the study. The scenario can be at the world level, continent level, national level, state level, and maybe the regional level. This way you can bring over it. And this scenario should mention about the past and the present. Okay, and what ideas you are going to adopt it. That also you can mention it in in this chapter. Then this chapter also can be in the form of the introductions, body, and conclusions or summary. In the fourth chapter, it's mentioned about the analysis and interpretations. So in this chapter, there can be a part A and part B. Part A should be analyzing the secondary data, and part B must be analyzing the primary data, that the data you are generating it. And here also you can use the statistics, that generic statistics and inferential statistics. You can use it very well, and you might be making a lot of tables. So every table should be having the sources. Source must be mentioned there. Then the fifth chapter should be the findings, suggestions, recommendation, conclusion, and scope of the further study. The scope of further study help to the future researchers. The next one is a bibliography. The bibliography should be the second last of your report, and this bibliography you have to classify it: books, journals, proclamations, reports, dissertations, theses, magazines, pamphlets, manual, then tracks, okay, and websites. This way you can classify it. But this bibliography should be written either in the Harvard B-School format or American Psychological format. Next one is the annexure. The annexures you can attach the questionnaire or the interview schedule or the data what you have used it for the research report. Then general points that you have to keep in your mind while you are writing the report. Throughout the thesis, there must be citations and footnote, and there must be a significance between topic, statement of the problem, objectives, hypothesis, review of literature, scenario, analysis and interpretations, findings, suggestions, recommendations, conclusions, and future of the study. And the data must be presented in the table form or the chart form or in the graph ways. The sources must be mentioned if you have taken a data for your analysis purpose. There must be a coherence, significance. There must be a coherence and significance with your own style of the language. So these are all points that we have to remember while we are writing the research report. Thank you so much.